Good evening. Welcome to WYMAN. I'm your host, Wyman, and today we're going to be discussing Strengths Finder Video Assessment. Now, this assessment was something done by the Gallup organization, and it is some of the most effective people are those who understand their strengths and their behaviors. So, for a class, we had to take the test, kind of figure out what your strengths and your behaviors were. Something that I got was competition, futuristic, strategic, learner, and activator. Thought it was very interesting quiz, something very, something interesting to do. So I thought it would be a great topic to discuss here on my TV show. So you want to talk about leadership development. You want to ask how does this StrengthsFinder assessment has anything to do with leadership development? Well, it's been said that leadership development is those who understand, somebody who knows what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, how to build from that and move on to that. So I think it's very important that, you understand who you are as a person and then understand who you are as a leader. Now, first I want to talk about my strengths. Again, my strengths were activator, learner, strategic, and futuristic, as well as competition. Now, competition I thought was very interesting. It says that when you look at the world, you are instinctively aware of other people's performances. Their performance is the ultimate yardstick. So it's saying that I base how I am off of what other people, and I try to compete. I try to be better. Um, I think it's very interesting. I think that a lot of my strengths are very accurate with who I am. I think I'm very good at talking. I'm very good at, being idealistic and as well as very open to learning. And then lastly, activator, doing it, getting the job done. So I think that's very important, something that I take pride in, some of my skills and some of my traits that make me who I am. Um, I would say that my skills make me a leader because they're very leader oriented. A leader is somebody who also learns. I think you learn every day of life. You're gonna continue to learn, continue to grow, and so to learn that I'm somebody who's a learner was very interesting to me, as well as strategic. It's important that things are placed, things are planned. You don't just get up, you don't just make decisions. Very strategic about the way that I plan because I am competitive. So I do want to, do what needs to be done, and sometimes I like to be number one. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. And lastly, activating it, putting it into play. How will you make it happen? So that is that. My reaction to the assessment was very interesting. I was very intrigued, very surprised. I was not at all um, thrown aback. Competitive and a little here or there. Very interesting to hear that I was competitive. Thought that I was more so competitive in the sports world, but it says that I'm probably just competitive all around. The assessment was very interesting, very, very informative, and the way that the questions are presented, the way that they're answered, the timeliness, I thought it was all just, really interesting, and it was very interesting to learn and continue to read more about myself. Um, I believe that this gives me the ability to know who I am for the future and be able to do what needs to be done, get the job done. Going into somebody who wants to be into higher education to lead, children and to help people understand who they are, what they want to do, maybe one day on a college or university or in campus life. I think it's very important that as an activator, I do what the campus community wants, get the job done. I believe that as a learner, I have to learn from my students. I have to learn from the campus. I have to learn from my community in order to get the job done. Strategic, think about what it is that other college campuses are not doing, what it is about higher education that I can do differently. And then lastly, but not least, it kind of goes with competition as well as futuristic, keeping the game ahead. You're tuned in live to WYMAN, and I'm your host, Wyman. Thank you. Have a good evening.